Alrighty. So, hello everybody. This is episode 58 of Shoot the Breeze, a chill interview and a chill time all around for you and me. I'm your host, HeavyDivider. Alongside me here is a very, very humble individual. As a matter of fact, when I say humble on hand, he's also one of those people who are pretty chill on hand to be able to talk to, as well as just have like interesting conversations on hand and just be able to hang out with here and there, be it in his chat or be able to hang out in VRC. My guest for tonight here is Syrkatrii, but we call him Syrkatrii for short. You just wrap that around on him. But yeah, what's going on?
Syrkatrii. We call him Syrkatrii, but we call him Syrkatrii for short. Syrk.
Zerk. Oh yeah, that's right. Zerk. That too. That too. But yeah, what's going on? How you been?
It's funny. I actually never came up with that nickname. Everyone else did because they couldn't actually pronounce the full name.
That's actually kind of funny when you say it, because anytime I see the name, like you had to tell me one time what your name was at one point because I couldn't figure out what it is. But once you told me it was Syrkatrii, immediately the first thing that popped in my mind was the Pokemon from Sun and Moon, the Ultra Beast.
That's what people told me, and I didn't know about it, so I had to look it up. And I was like, I guess.
I guess. I guess. Yeah. Just kind of struggle on hand here. So, let's get down to the questions here. First and foremost, how the hell did we meet?
We actually, okay, so specifically the day, I don't remember, but I do remember what world it was in. The name escapes me, but it's the world with the cabin and there's a bridge that leads across to a cavern.
Mm-hmm.
I know Metal Bro was there, Suki Moon was there, Hockey was there, and that day I met you because you were there chilling. I think you were hanging with Metal Bro at the time.
Yeah, I was hanging with Metal Bro. I think it was at the, something of Dreams. That's what I think.
But, yes. It's not Field of Dreams, but it's, like
right.
I say, you spawn inside of a cabin.
Yeah, we spawn a cabin and everything.
And then you go outside and it's nighttime, pretty, all that.
But what I remember on hand, yeah, I see what you mean. So, but what I remember on hand is the fact that basically I just went there to see Metal Bro because it was like late at night or so, here and there. And I do remember Hockey. I do remember you. I think we were just memeing around with something on hand here. I couldn't remember what it was. But
funny enough, I still have the clip. It was Samuelism doing 911 calls that were recorded.
Oh, that's what it was. Oh, that's right. I remember that.
911 call.
I remember. God, it's been a while since I've thought about that on hand because it's like, you know, I was like late 2018, I think, because I know for a fact I had my VR headset at that time too. Had to be that time, but I just can't remember what was that time of. So.
It was around that time, yeah. You had the Iron Man arm, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's when I was the Iron Maiden at the time. It was one of those things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was one of those things where basically it was that trend where basically for some reason everybody had like a waifu on hand, like a waifu avatar here and there. So I thought, all right, I'll just have my own waifu avatar here and there, and then I just kind of went with that for a little bit until I was like, you know, I don't feel comfortable in this. I need something better.
Yeah.
So.
I guess I went with something. I guess for my OC, I went with something that, you know, if people couldn't recognize my name, maybe they would go based on how I looked. And well, I covered myself in circuit boards, so.
Well, there you go.
That'd probably get the point across.
Yeah, get the point across. That way, if they can't pronounce your name, you could be like, well, I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint on how you pronounce it. It's part of a circuit on hand. But let me ask about your VRChat Origins on hand. What got you into this game in general, or what kind of brought you to it?
Okay, so it's kind of a long string that led me to playing the game myself, because I'm a musician. I've been a musician for 20. Actually, next year will be 20 years exactly. And I like to watch a lot. My friend back in 2011 started showing me a lot of guitar YouTubers, you know, like Rob Scallon, Jared Dines, you know, and a lot of guitar players. And, you know, anytime you watch a guitar player, usually YouTube recommends another guitar player and another guitar player. and it kept on going.
Mhm.
Eventually, I got recommended this guitar player called The Do. And I started watching his videos. He would go in Counter-Strike and just play any song that was requested. He would do Counter-Strike, Call of Duty. He would do all sorts of multiplayer games. He's like, and his videos are super funny. Like, I still watch him to this day. And then one day, I think it was in early 2018, he uploaded a video where he went into a game called VRChat. And I'd never heard of it. And I thought you needed virtual reality to play the game at the time. That's how stupid I was. But it didn't even cross my mind to think, wait, if he's in virtual reality, how's he playing the guitar? So, never crossed my mind.
No, I got you.
But I started watching him, and those were some of the funniest videos, because the characters that he was running into in the game were just as funny as him. Like, you had this guy, Piccolo, with a super squeaky voice. You had Nappa sounding like Nappa from Dragon Ball Z. You had all these people in there that were just literally like, you know, kind of cosplaying as themselves, but also cosplaying as characters. So it was really fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I can, as soon as you mention those two names, I can easily tell you those names. The Piccolo with the squeaky voice and everything, that was Summers. That was a person by the name of Summers on hand. And for the Nappa one, funny enough, that was Spiral God. That was Spiral God on hand. And when
they were both in...
I guess they were, for the most part.
They were both in, yeah.
But,
they were both in, man, thinking about it now, that's just like really cool. But eventually, so what happens is whenever you get into a video series, YouTube works again, the algorithm, and then I got recommended videos featuring, you know, characters like Chips and Moxie and that group. And I started watching them, and this guy sings really good. I started liking him because, well, again, guitar player, YouTube, VRChat. That was basically the algorithm that I was being fed as my channel. So I was like, okay, I'm enjoying this. This is actually pretty cool. Me, I was still streaming on YouTube at the time. Like, I wasn't even planning on coming to Twitch or anything like that. But eventually I learned, oh, wait, I can actually play this game. It's free. I don't have to pay for it. And I can play it on desktop, and my computer can run it. So, hey, it's checking everything on the list, so why don't we just play it for a little bit of fun? So on August 7th of 2018, I streamed for the very first time me going into VRChat, my first impressions. And I was really scared to actually tell anyone that I was streaming because I thought YouTube would have banned my account if anything bad was said. Basically, like the Twitch treatment.
Oh, the Twitch affiliate thing. Well, yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So I really was just kind of going around talking, and everyone in my chat was like, no, don't do it. This is back when the Knuckles meme was like still like, you know, popping off at its apex.
Still a thing.
Yeah. And it's just like, you know, everybody was just like, don't do it. It's full of memes and, you know, but in actuality, a lot of the people I talked to were nice. And so after that, I just kept playing and kept playing and kept playing. And then it was only like a few weeks later that I actually ran into Moxie, and she recognized me from because I actually found out she streamed on Twitch, and I was like, oh wow, I can follow Moxie on Twitch. So I started following her, started watching the story, and enjoying the streams. So I would host as often as I could, and after that, she found my channel and actually gave me my. She was following me before I even had 100 followers. Like, that's how far back it was.
Damn.
And she's actually the reason I'm affiliate on Twitch. I actually uploaded a video in September of 2018 thanking her publicly.
How long did it take you to get affiliate for you on your side?
I want to say it took me about a month and a half. Because I was still streaming on YouTube. My plan originally back in the day was I was going to go between YouTube and Twitch because I wanted to keep both platforms going. YouTube was going to be single-player games, you know, like Skyrim, Doom, Fallout, which my content was largely based on at the time because I was getting probably around 25 to 30 people watching me on YouTube just for the Skyrim content by itself. And then I would save the multiplayer games, like, you know, if I wanted to play Call of Duty or if I wanted to play Battlefield or Apex or Fortnite, anything like that would be on Twitch exclusively. So this way I would kind of divide my my audience, so that this way I was giving everybody a taste of everything.
Okay. No, I got you.
And I guess over time, it got a little bit too much to handle both channels at the same time, so I had to kind of take a break from one to focus on the other, and, well, there's a reason why my YouTube channel's dead.
No, I got you. I mean, because the thing is, understand the way I'm doing is I'm just streaming on Twitch, and then basically, like, any content or anything I have on Twitch, I basically will convert it into a video and put it on YouTube, or if I want to do, like, something different that's not related to Twitch, I'll just basically make it and put it on YouTube. Just, like, make YouTube my videos, and make Twitch my streaming on hand. So...
yeah. Well, yeah, and that's kind of what I'm probably going to be doing here in the near future. Just focusing more on videos and working on some more content. Stuff that's not related to games or anything like that, but stuff that I'm actually passionate and interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole nother can, but that's not answering the question. But basically, yeah, that's string. So it went from guitar player likes YouTube. I watch guitar players. It leads me to one guitar player. That guitar player plays a video game. Then that YouTube recommends another person to play the same video game. Another YouTuber plays the same video game. And eventually, I play video game.
Yeah, there you go. There you go on hand. I mean...
And that took about that was about an 8-month period.
I see.
All of it.
I got you. I mean, it was interesting on hand, too, because you think about it, like, with its boom period in, like, 2018 or so, like, you didn't think... You didn't think it would go on a wild venture on hand of where it's going to go here and there, you know?
Oh, I had no idea.
I have no idea either. But it's one of those things where it'll get there when it gets there and just kind of like moves along with the history of time for where it can go. And you don't know where exactly it'll lead, but it'll probably lead you on a wild adventure of where it can possibly go here and there. So that's a crazy thing.
If I planned that far ahead, I would probably already have $1 million in my bank account right now.
Damn. I mean, like I said, it gets there when it gets there. That's how we roll things on hand. But let me ask you about your hobbies on hand besides the game. Now, I try to look up a little bit on hand. I know you play Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit of Duel Links on hand here and there. I know for a fact, too, you like to basically talk to people a lot on hand, like being very social and just talking like a little bit of everything for the most part here and there. But do you have any hobbies besides streaming or like VRChat in general? Anything outside of that?
Mainly, I guess my favorite hobbies are music. I like listening to music. I like watching YouTube videos to get inspired to make my own content.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been watching a lot more and kind of learning the aspects of what to do, which is a positive, and what not to do, which is a negative, and you kind of just intertwine the two. I take lessons from everyone. Like mainly, I spend most of my time watching commentary videos because commentary it's interesting notion because even though these guys are talking about drama, they're talking about it with a dialect where it's educational for the viewer in a way. Like it's critical, but it's educational. And I think that's what's fascinated me the most. I'm always interested in that aspect. And I thought if I could find a way to not mirror the content, but rather at least be inspired enough to create my own and put it out there in a way that people will not only understand it, but they'll walk away from it with something.
No, I got you.
So.
I got you on hand. I will say it's pretty critical just because of the fact that when you look at no matter what the topic is on hand, sometimes there are people out there who have they can really tell a story pretty well in their own unique way on hand here. And then basically within that story on hand, it's just a matter of what interests you with it or something you might not even know about that's happening when you least expect it on hand.
Well, it's also the aspect of it's also the aspect and the really interesting thing is a lot of the stories, there's stories that you could tell today of something that would happen maybe a year or 2 years ago because of certain things I don't think about. They're small things that you just gloss over. But I think one thing that I really focus on is kind of like the view of hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
Because, with the benefit of hindsight, you can definitely go back and you can look at this and identify every mistake that this person made, or you can identify every mistake that this party or whatever made. And I think you can, if you deliver that in a way to the audience where it's just like, hey, this is what this guy did, but if you look at it from this angle or this perspective, you know, you give them a full 360. You don't just tell them this is one direction.
Yeah. Definitely.
And that's really kind of what I'm trying to learn and what I'm trying to understand to a much more sharper degree.
Kind of make it overall civil on hand.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because I mean, that's one. If a good example of this was actually when I was a kid, back in the late '90s, early 2000s. There was this television show I used to watch called "World's Magic's Biggest Secrets Revealed," and it was this man wearing a mask and a full black outfit, and he would do magic tricks that popular magicians would do from the 60s to the 90s. You know, like the water torture and making a truck disappear and making an elephant appear, like. And what he would do is he would show you the trick, and then after the trick was done, they would take you behind the scenes to show you how the trick was actually done. Because of cameras and stagehands and what the assistants do, certain
The illusion of it.
buttons to push. Yeah, he would show you, and he wasn't doing this to expose magicians. He was actually doing this to show people that, hey, even though the stuff isn't real, it doesn't make it any less fun or entertaining.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same aspect with what I just talked about, or a similar aspect between the two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just kind of make it more all around magical in general for it. So, just to be able to show how it works and just how everything is. So, I got you. Ian.
You ever hear, there was actually something that George Carlin said a long time ago in one of his sets. He says, I do EIE. Entertain, inform, educate. And that's like a perfect moniker right there. Those three ingredients, if you can mix those into your entertainment or your content, it's going to open up so many doors.
Yeah. It's just a matter of like finding the right format for how you can get it to work on hand here and there.
That's what I'm working on right now. I'm just trying to find out what direction I want to go with it.
Okay. I get you. And I hope it goes in the right direction you want to go. You know, wherever you want to go with it or so. So.
Yeah,
very
true.
But, what was the game that basically introduced you into gaming entirely for the most part? Like, what got you started in, like, video gaming at all?
Ooh. What, are we talking, like, early on, or
like,
are we talking about, like, something that...
It could be early on or so. Like, what's your introduction to, like, gaming? Like, it could be something in your childhood into basically what led you to, like, say, like, consoles, PC, anything like that.
So when it came to consoles, I basically, you know, I was a PlayStation. My dad bought me a PlayStation back in 2000, or back when it came out. I think it was 1998 or something like that, or much earlier than that. I'm not sure, but we were mainly a PlayStation family. Like, we never owned an Xbox ever. To this day, I still never owned an Xbox. I own an Xbox controller, but that's for the PC. Yeah, the first two games that we bought for it was Crash Bandicoot Warped and NASCAR 99. And we actually bought steering wheels for NASCAR so that me and my dad, my brother, my sister, we would all race against each other, taking turns on the... You actually had to push on the gas and shift at the turns.
I remember actually buying that
so
for...
you actually had to know.
No, I got you. I was gonna say, I remember buying one of those for Test Drive. There was a game called Test Drive 7. Like, I remember buying that for it.
Yeah, and the other game, well, the game that I ended up using it the most on, the steering wheel and the pedals, was Need for Speed 3, Hot Pursuit, and that's still to this day my favorite racing game. Like, I played all the other ones, I do not like them.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Everybody's got their own unique taste, you know, when it comes down to it on hand, here and there. But yeah, was that kind of like what got you started for the most part in gaming in general, just like for that console for the most part, or does it go a little bit far back?
Yeah, because
Okay, go, sorry.
Oh, I don't know. It's just like, I guess if we're going really, really, really far back, like back when Windows 95 was a thing, I would just sit for hours and watch my mom play solitaire in my rocking chair, drinking a grape soda.
Okay.
You know, I was just like, I would learn, and that's how I learned how to play solitaire. Was just sitting there watching her and noticing, oh, okay, the red card to the black card, and it's counting backwards from 10. So I kind of learned how to play solitaire just by sitting there and watching her. And then when she got to a certain point, I didn't pay attention to this at all when I was a kid. But when it got to a certain point, all of a sudden it's like, bang, the cards would start dancing on the screen when you won. And I was like, I want to make that work. I want to do that. So I just kind of played that, and then my dad gave me my first computer when I was 12, and it had a copy of Doom on it, and I spent hours and hours playing the hell out of that game.
Of course, it's a classic.
I played Doom and Doom 2.
It's a hell of a classic, that's the thing. Like, a hell of a classic to even play in general and just be able to do all that, that's the thing. So, but, let me talk about the VRChat scene. Now, in this present of where we are right now, at this moment of where we are, what are your current thoughts about VRChat?
I mean, I would say there are pros and there are cons, and you could say that about any game. Do I think that it's improved from what it once was? I'm going to say slightly, but I mean, it feels like every time you get rid of one problem, two more take its place.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can say that for every game out there, because there's always going to be issues. There's never going to be a perfect video game where you don't have, crashes, or you don't have server issues, or you don't have anything like that. Do I think it's, like right now, the current climate of are we talking about the state of the game or the state of the player base?
I would say mostly, like, all around. Like, what it could be like the overall feel of VRChat for the most part.
Okay, so with that said, I think I would say that in terms of the game, it still has issues, and I'm sure that those issues are going to take a long time to fix. If it's going to take a while. Long story short, but as far as my feelings, some of the changes have created this behavioral effect in the players, where I feel like more people are secluding themselves away from the rest of the game. Originally VRChat started off as a community hub where you could meet each other, and now it's turned into, I don't want to meet anyone, I just want to meet people that I trust and I know. And that's really where it started. I mean, it's not the game's fault. I mean, this is something that's been building ever since 2018, I want to say. I mean, I remember back then, you literally could not leave a lobby without having something bad happen to you in the next one. So, do I think that, I would say that the game, I don't think it's improved much. I'm going to say slightly in terms of performance, but that would be as far as I'd be willing to go. I'm not willing to say that it's, like, right now, like, something that is going to be on everyone's mind at the end of the day. Especially the old players.
I mean, when it comes to the old...
If anything, a lot of those... Yeah.
I mean, no,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when it comes to the old players in general, I was about to say that we've pretty much seen everything going on in this game entirely, from its ups and downs, and basically at its, like, weird, like, balance on hand of what's going on. Be it trends, be it just, certain things that go on that they are trying to implement, to just, like, other things in general, here and there. So, yeah.
See, that's, I kind of envy Twitch chat in some ways, because it's, in that scenario, you're putting yourself right in the thick of it in some cases, but they're just a viewer. They can actually absorb everything that they see going on through any form of content, whether it's Twitch or YouTube, or if it gets out on Twitter or anything like that, and they see this happening, they can absorb everything that's going on and use that information to either improve, or they can use that, or they'll completely ignore the information entirely and make the same mistakes that everybody else did.
Yeah.
One or the other is going to happen. But I do envy that position because I mean, at the end of the day, that's a beautiful position to have because you don't want to be on the field. You want to be in the stands. You want to be watching.
Yeah, but it also depends on exactly who they're watching too. Because if you think about it, like depending on what kind of style the streamer is or what the VRChat person is, or so, can determine on whether or not people will be interested in even playing the game. Or it could also determine the factor that basically it could be the great push away from them. Like, you know, if this is how people act or so, then they don't want to basically they don't want to step into this or so.
Oh, yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. Like, at the end of the day, the content creator is going to be a factor on that. But the thing is at what point do you cross over from being a player in the game to a content creator in the game who's using the game?
Mm.
I mean, that's the problem is VRChat went from a video game to a content creation kit. That's essentially what it is. I mean, that's kind of the state that it's in now. I don't think it's about meeting new people anymore. It's about literally making content.
I mean, when you put it that way, or so, it's one of those things where the freedom of it is what kind of granted people to do that too. Plus, keep in mind too, it's also like the gateway of like people who do VRC or so are now doing VTubing, while those who are doing VTubing are now hearing and discovering VRChat for the most part. So it's like it's a weird gateway on hand that it basically opens up for people to do stuff, but also kind of branch out into like what they are known for. Or so, like if you're known for VRChat and basically you do a lot of things in VR and with your VR headset or so, you want to try to implement what you take from VRC and put it on a wider scale of like past, like, you know, for other games in general, you know, where VTubing comes in because they know you from based on what your avatar is for the most part, and they want to see how that avatar goes in different other places on hand here and there. So it's weird. It's just kind of a weird thing overall sake or so when it comes down to it. And I wish I knew why it came to that, but other than that, it's just it is what it is at best, sadly enough.
Well, sadly, it's not just there are plenty of people or plenty of sources you can point the finger at. The problems with the game, the developers' behavior towards players, especially in the course of 2020 that I saw. You could blame the player base for being toxic. You could blame the crashers for ruining the streamers' good times, if you want to call them that. I mean, there's so many. You can point the finger literally anywhere. But is it right to point the finger when the issues were going to happen anyway?
That depends on was it in their control to even try to prevent this or not. And if it was in their control, why did they not? You know? And if it was in their control, how could they even attempt to do it? You know, it's a weird fork in the road too, when it comes down to it.
A very slippery slope, I would say.
Yeah, slippery slope on hand here and there. So, but hopefully, well, keep in mind, it's kind of now become its own brand or its own business on hand for where it's going now. And the reason I say that is because, put it this way, you know the whole VCAP thing and everything, right? It's now become a branch where basically other businesses from different places are able to promote their own thing through models and everything, or basically in the VR virtual reality kind of set. It's basically where all the things from like that. This is where the VCAP market the VCAP comes in, where they do this just to promote things, but also it's the business aspect. And to put it like this or so, when it comes to like VRChat in general, so yes, it's content creation, but there's also a business practice within it too, just to kind of keep the game either running or also kind of keep something on the side to make sure they have something to work with. You know, expand businesses in weird ways or so. And I don't know where this is going to go on hand. I know they're going to try to implement their own economy in this game, to which I would like to see how that's going to work, but we'll see when it gets there or so. It's one of those things you got to wait and see what happens. And then just kind of like cherry pick a little bit. See what's this, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, don't go into it without a back door.
You never know.
If you have to get out.
Yeah, you never know on hand. But let me talk about the streaming scene on hand, like overall current present for it, streaming-wise or so. This could be based on your perspective of where you are right now, on what you see from your perspective of streaming in general. It could be based on the perspective of what you see going on entirely when it comes to streaming. Because, trust me, there's been a lot of things happening streaming-wise or so. Be it on Twitch, be it through trends, be it for whatever's going on what you relate to and love to do, for the most part. But overall, what would be your perspective for it?
I don't know. I kind of I took 3 weeks off recently in order to just kind of step back and go, okay, what exactly do I want to do with my channel? Because I spent 3 years, I looked at the analytics, and like 40, I think it's almost half of my audience all are fans of this game. So anytime I stream another game, I'm not going to get the numbers that I would normally get if I was playing this. But the thing is that I don't want to be and this is not a slight. I'm not going to name specific people, but it feels like VRChat, some streamers, not all of them, it just feels like a one-trick pony type of situation where this is what's making me money, this is what's paying the bills, so I'm going to keep doing this and only this. And okay, fine, but how long are you going to do it for? Because I can tell you right now, other people tried, and eventually you're going to put the headset down, and it's going to make you sick to even wear it.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So I mean, what happens at that point? You're going to play another game, and what's going to happen? Your views are going to get cut in half. So okay.
And
what are you gonna do at that point?
That's where establishing a personality comes into play. Like, put it this way, if you are who you are throughout every single game entirely, then that's the person, and everybody can relate to that personality of who you are for the most part. Like, nothing changes, nothing. Basically, if you are yourself, people are going to stick with you no matter what game you play on hand here. The unfortunate part is there are people who don't go for personalities. Like, there are people who go for appearances. And sometimes, usually, anything that is appearance-wise will be the thing that people will stay just to look at, for the most part. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what the context is. They're there for this. And the thing is, it's mostly an appeal. It's an appeasement, for the most part. And I wish I could tell you why that is, but it's also something else, too, that has been more of a weird staple when it comes to, like, VR or, like, say, VTubing as well. Where basically, if something looks appeasing on hand or so, then sometimes people are there to be there for that. But when it comes to, like, something that you want to be, or basically what you want to work with, or basically you don't want to change your personality for anything in the world, for the most part, it can only be for selected people on hand. It won't be for, like, a whole universal thing. Because people will either have it one way, or they'll have it no way. Which sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks, unfortunately.
Very, very true. I mean, but yeah, long story, to translate roughly, you can't please everyone, and I fully understand that. I mean, it's funny because when I made the switch over from YouTube to Twitch, only out of almost 700 subscribers that I had accumulated over 2 years, only a handful of them actually followed me over here to the platform. A lot of them said, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to Twitch. It's a bad website." And this was back in 2018 when it was way different. It's Twitch in that year was not the same as Twitch this year.
Yeah.
Or even the year before. I mean, I watched it change so quickly, and it was very, very unusual. I think that's kind of another thing, was that it just feels like, you know, you're streaming on a platform, and then you're realizing the platform's making headlines, but they're not good.
It doesn't help too with the fact that the main fact too with Twitch is its main problem is discoverability, and usually discoverability is based on who you network with. And sometimes, which I will say this as a fact, in order to network with some people, sometimes you got to play ball in their direction on exactly how to be able to network on hand here. Yeah, there is the thing where you become friends with them, get to know them and everything, which is a normal thing, but sometimes it's hard to become friends with people when you have to be a certain way to even become friends with them, you know? You have to act a certain way to go for it, and to me, I don't see the point in doing that, really. I don't see the point in acting a certain way just to try to be friends with somebody, and if that's the case, then it's just like, why even do that in the first place? Just focus on yourself, and that's the case, Focus on yourself and basically just surround yourself with the people that you enjoy being with, for the most part. And if you do that or so, then hey, I'm happy with who I have with me, rather than basically surround myself with people who basically who have their own different personalities here and there, but I have to match that personality in order to be able to, grow or something as a streamer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see I don't want to do that then. I'd rather just basically surround myself. Yeah. So.
I know, it's funny because, it's funny because there was, when I first started, I started on YouTube back in 2016, and I was playing Doom, back when it first came out in May. And, I was streaming the hell out of the game. I only had like 30 subscribers, and then I started playing games like Skyrim and Fallout, and this was back when I didn't have a PC that could actually run anything. I was streaming entirely off a PS4 with a basic shitty microphone that barely worked at most of the time. And if I talked too loud, it would peak and make it sound like I'm talking through a wind tunnel.
Yeah, I see.
But I worked with what I had at the time. I wish I had thousands of dollars to invest, in a good gaming setup. But I don't. It took me 3 years to build my PC to rack up enough money.
Yeah.
And thankfully, my dad knows exactly which parts to buy. But just in regards to what you said, though, or I guess the reason I bring that point up is because I would try streaming. I for 2 years straight I did mainly Skyrim and Fallout content. That's because I love both games. I really do enjoy playing Skyrim. I'll still play it to this day, and I enjoy playing Fallout. And because I have people coming into the chat who would tell me new things about the game that I didn't know. And I've been playing Skyrim since 2011 on the PS3. And then I got it on PS4, then I got it on PC, then I got it on a VR. And I've really enjoyed every time that I play it. It's just, even though I've heard the lines 1,000 times over and over, and I know exactly where every mission is in the world, it's still fun because I can just close my eyes and just enjoy the ambience and the experience of it all.
Yeah.
And but after a while, it does get taxing to play that same game over and over again, because it's just I feel like I'm wearing this thing out. I need to step away for a second, but and of course that goes back to what I said earlier. You stream another game that your audience doesn't agree with, your views get cut in half. I'm here to watch this guy play this, not this guy play this. And I know you spoke about personality and stuff like that, but Here's the thing. I don't think people are watching VRChat for the personality, because if they were, almost 80% of all of the streamers who play this game would not be in female avatars.
No, I got you. That's why I said appearance.
Yeah, I would say I think MM says it best. They're not here. They're here for the content.
Yeah.
The creator comes content first, creator second. That's why it's called content creator.
Yeah, but the problem is, and I've noticed this on hand too, which I will say it's a very steep decline on hand. And I say very steep because if this is what your entire audience knows you as, and you don't want to be known as that, what can you do? You basically box yourself into a corner.
Well, I'm pretty much, I'm going to let my channel bleed, and then I'm going to pick up my corpse, and I'm going to carry it forward with some new stuff. That's essentially what's going to happen, you know? It's going to hurt, and it has hurt. I haven't... it's been 16 months. I haven't been able to break 2,150 followers.
I got you.
In 16 months.
I got you.
And I'm not... And here's the thing. I haven't been complaining about it. Every once in a while, I do go off on a tantrum, but we're talking like once in a blue moon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like every day I'm on my Twitter just ranting about how my channel's dying. But I don't... Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, who caused it? It wasn't because it wasn't my viewers. It wasn't the games I was playing. It was me.
Okay. I got you.
Because, you know, I think it's a failure to adapt. And I could chalk it up to that. But...
Yeah.
Or maybe it's also I lack the two things that YouTube and Twitch do: communication and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I got you. I know, I got you. And I was gonna say, next question I had basically is like being a content creator. Like, what's the difficulties for like being a content creator on hand for the most part? Like for you personally. For you personally, what would be the difficulties on hand? Like, because I know you probably encounter certain roadblocks here and there during your time as being a content creator. Or as we've talked about on hand here and there.
Well, I kind of put it into long form, but let me give you a good analogy. Imagine you're the content creator and you're driving a car down the highway, and in the back seat is your audience talking like a bunch of kids. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And you realize, hey, you know what? I want to stop and get some food at that place. And they're like, no, that place sucks. Why are you going to eat there? It's like, because I'm hungry. That's why. So I pull over.
Mm-hmm.
I get out, and the kids, at that point, it feels like, you know, I lost karma.
I
with
see.
The kids.
I got you.
Because I'm getting out and I'm trying something that they don't like. And the problem is that even if they say it, I'm still gonna do it.
No, I got you.
I guess at what point do you really just have to say, fuck the audience, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And do it with enough class and doing it the right way. Because it feels like there is no right way to actually do it.
Mm-hmm. No, I got you. I got you on hand. I will ask, do you have any memorable or funny moments for the most part? That comes to your mind, like if you think about it?
Oh, I think I have a ton. Man, I have them all on my Twitch. Everyone else deleted their clips. I kept all mine.
Yeah, keep all mine.
I'll take a risk. Yeah, so it's like all my memories are there. If I have to relive one of them, it's where I was hanging out with Maddie Death back in 2019. It was right before New Year's. We were just hanging out in the world, and Poke was there. Pokeash, for those of you who don't know him. Great. And so many other people were there. And I can't remember specifically what led to this, but oh yeah, Poke was laughing about something. I can't remember what specifically, but I look over and I point at him, and it's just like, get your mind out of the gutter, you shit. And Maddie comes up to me and says, dude, I try to keep my mind out of the gutter, but I can't. And I said, I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to him. Trying to get you out of the gutter is like trying to shake hands with Jesus. It ain't happening unless I'm dying.
Good lord.
And it just made... After I finished my sentence, everyone in the room just erupted laughing, and that caused me to erupt laughing, and next thing you know, it's like... I just came up with that off the top of my head. I was literally like... Okay, this is what I'm gonna say. But I would say that moment, just hearing everyone laugh around me, you know, that's what I always enjoy. Most memorable moments is when everyone in the room is laughing at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of my favorites.
I got you, and it makes sense. Makes sense to have on hand just to be able to talk about it for the most part. So this might be a personal question, but it also depends on exactly how you do it. But what is the motivation that keeps you going? Like, what keeps you going in the sense of what you want to do, how you want to do it, and basically see it through to the end?
You know what? People are going to think me cynical of this, or this is going to sound cynical.
Brutal honesty.
The fact that everyone's doing the fact that everyone around me is doing better than me is what drives me forward because, well, I'm sorry, I'm not doing this to be mean. I want to be better than you. I want to be better than everybody.
I got you.
So, if that means, but the thing is that the one thing I don't want to do is step on toes.
That's
so I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to, think of it as a takeover with a smile.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's the best way to describe it. So, I mean, that's the motivation that keeps me going. But it's like, I'm not willing to, there are certain compromises I'm not willing to accept. Like, for example, I'm not going to suck toes for views. I'm not going to ask for any, I can guarantee you, I've been accused of actually asking for promotions and average. I've never once asked anyone in the game to promote me or to shout me out or anything like that. And I said, I'll give you $100 if you can find a clip of it, because I can guarantee it does not exist anywhere on YouTube, on Twitch, nowhere, because I've never asked for it.
Yeah.
And I don't want it, And really, what kind of started that whole thing was back in 2016. I kept my videos, my streams at the time, which would be converted to YouTube videos, because the comment section is active. My comment section will always be botted by these channels saying, hey, I like your content. You should come to my channel, subscribe, leave a like on the video, comment on the video, and I'll give you a shout out in my next one. The shout out channels.
Yeah, those.
And I made a whole video. Oh God, I freaking hate. If I rarely say the word hate because I usually reserve my hate for real monsters. But if there's one community that truly sucks, it is the shout out community. Because I'll tell you right now, you are not going to get any help from them at all. Because the people who subscribe to you aren't subscribing because they want to watch your content. They're subscribing because somebody else told them to. And they're not there for you. They're not there to watch you. That's one reason why it's just like, it's, for lack of a better term, cancer.
No, I got you.
But yeah, so yeah, back to what I was saying. What motivates me? I'm willing to do what I have to do to be successful, but there's certain stones I'm not going to step on, especially the ones that people advise. It's just like, dude, you're not going to get anywhere. Well, it's like, okay, fine. If I have to mop floors for the rest of my life, then y'all can continue sucking the dick, because I'm not gonna.
No, I got you. I got you on hand, dude. Interesting motivation on hand, and it's something I'm pretty sure everybody can relate to on hand. Like, especially, for what has transpired to basically what pretty much falls on your shoulders, or something that basically people keep bringing to you when you never asked for it at all,
Well, and I don't want it to make it sound like I'm ungrateful, because there are people who have shouted me out both on YouTube and on Twitch, and I am grateful for it. I never asked for it. I don't encourage anyone to promote me. Like, hell, my moderators, I'd never encouraged any of them to do as much work as they've done for me, as far as, getting me to where I am now.
Yeah.
So, like, I am super, like, these people say I have a heart of gold. These people have true hearts of gold, because, again, they're doing this, without any service, any asking, any really, like, any reward of service.
I see.
So, they're the true heroes.
No, I understand. I fully understand. I mentioned about the VRChat current present, but I was going to ask for a comparison on hand. Say, from your first time to basically being on VRChat and how it is, or so, compared to basically where we are now, what are some of the things you're glad that they have changed compared to some of the things that you wish they didn't change at all? Like, it could be something security-wise, it could be something like Unity-wise, it could be something that basically within it that you wish wasn't changed, or glad that they have changed for you.
The loading music.
Always the loading music.
The loading music sucks.
I gotcha.
It sucks so bad. Just bring back the old music. Bring back the old loading screen. I will be happy. I'm sure if everyone just said in one unison, bring back the old fucking loading screen, or at least give us the option to change loading screens. That would be even better. Let me see what I want to see. Let me hear what I want to hear. Instead of just give me this, like, it feels like I'm in an elevator going down to hell here.
No, I got you. I got you on hand. Is there anything you're looking forward towards in the future right now? Be it like in VRC or anything else that coming your way?
Honestly, well, right now, I'm just looking forward to the holidays. There's video games I'm looking forward to. I'd say the one that I talk about content creation, but if there's one thing I'm absolutely looking forward, and I've been looking forward to this for 5 years, by the way, Starfield.
Starfield. I've heard about it.
I have wanted that game for the longer. When I first heard about it, it was Skyrim in space, which was kind of what everyone was throwing around, and I was like, that sounds fucking amazing. Because two of my favorite films are The Martian and Interstellar, and I would love to role play or create my own little world where I actually I don't know what the aspects of the game are because they haven't really told us much, but you're going to be able to explore, you're going to be able to fly and all this stuff. I hope to God that this game is a success. I want it to be successful. And I would say that's the one that I'm most looking forward to. Otherwise, I mean, really, it's just about, I'm more concerned about tomorrow. It's just hey, if tomorrow comes, I'm happy.
Okay, I get you. And it's very understandable on hand here. So I got a curveball question I want to throw at you, and everybody's got a different kind of answer to it on hand for the most part. But let's talk about anime. Let's talk anime here. So I got it's a 3-part question, but I'll break it down for you. So first question: when I say the word anime, what's the first series that comes to your mind?
The first series that comes to mind, the Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon 9. Okay, I got you. Second question to that is if you had a top 3 or top 5 anime series that's personally for you or so, what would that be?
Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Gundam Wing.
All right. Damn, we're going by with that pretty quick. Okay. So the final part to that is basically, what is the anime that hit you close to home? Like when you watch it, you feel it emotionally and just on a personal level, or so you relate to it really hard.
Ooh, that is actually a good one. Does it have to be a series or a movie?
It could be either or. Honestly, when it comes down to it, as long as it's anime, it could be either or.
Oh, that's easy then. Princess Mononoke.
Damn, that's an old one. Yeah, I remember Princess Mononoke. Oh God.
The music in that movie, the voice acting, the story, everything just fits so perfectly in that film. In fact, years ago, I bought a magazine where it named the top 100 anime, and this is back before, this is back, I want to say this was 2003 or 2004, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. And I was 15, 16 at the time. This is when Toonami was playing, and the block was at 4, Sailor Moon. At 4:30, Reboot. At 5, Dragon Ball Z. And this was back when the Namek shit was going on. And then after that would be Gundam Wing.
Yeah.
But in this magazine, Princess Mononoke was ranked as number 5 out of 100 anime TV shows, series, movies. Number 1, ironically, was my first anime that I ever saw in my life, and that was Akira.
Akira.
My brother rented it. I was 11 years old when I first saw that. And my brother rented it from a video store. I watched the VHS copy back when it had the original dub, the first English dub, which is hard to find. Mm-hmm. But if you're able to find that, I'd recommend that version because the new version sucks ass. But yeah, that was my first ever anime that I watched.
Was there a live action? It was
ranked as number 1.
Okay, I was gonna say, was there a live action Akira one at once upon a time, or am I just imagining things?
No, I think they're working on one. I heard rumors that they're working on a live-action one.
Okay. I did not know. Did not know that on hand.
Maybe it already exists.
It probably does exist on hand here and there. But this gets me down to my last question on hand, and I'm going to grab this camera here, and I'm going to bring this over to you. And the question I have on hand here is, what are your goals and dreams? And at best, what is the best advice you can ever offer to anyone? I'm going to let you have center stage for this.
Ooh, advice. Now we're talking my language. Okay. I guess when it comes to it, I I don't know the age demographic of your channel, but I'm basically going to say this. Right now, I don't know if, first of all, a lot of people already know this already, but I'm already in my mid-30s. I'm 34 years old.
Mhm.
And I want to say that, my 20s were amazing. I got to play in a metal band. I got to go on tour. I got to write music and great times. I drank a lot, partied, and had a blast. There were good moments in my 20s, but the reason I bring this up is because you're also going to have bad moments in your 20s. And you're going to have more than one. And mistakes are going to be made and bridges are going to be burned. And I guess I'll finish the poem. Nobody goes through life with no lessons learned, which is one of my mottos that I actually go by. And the reason I say that is, your mistakes need to be always remembered. Like people say, I don't want to go forward without. I just want to forget this or this. No, I say remember it. Use it as. Don't look at it as a hard-learned lesson, but look at it as a lesson learned and learn to improve based on what you experience. Because just as much as I reminisce on my certain stuff from the 20s, I also learned to evaluate my mistakes that I made, and going forward in the future, I can reflect on those and know how to handle those similar situations in the future, or if somebody else is dealing with the same situations. So I would advise anyone out there to definitely take into consideration that mistakes are supposed to be made for a reason, and they will be painful. But the thing is, if there's someone else out there that's dealing with something that you have experience on or that you've experienced yourself, my best advice to you would be to definitely help them out by telling them exactly what you yourself did in terms of mistakes. So this way they have a much easier time going through it. And that's pretty much the long and the short of it.
And I was gonna say, what were your goals and dreams too? Besides of that.
I think waking up tomorrow sounds great. That's a good goal. Of as far as dreams, being able to have my own house and be self-sustainable, without help from family or friends, that would be nice.
I got you.
So yeah, having a home, a place that I can call home, not just anyone's home, my home. That would probably be my biggest dream.
Okay, I got you. Let me pull this back real quick. So, before we call it here and there or so, I want to ask everybody in chat here if you guys have any questions you want to be able to ask Syrkatrii on hand. Any questions at all that you guys have to be able to ask him on hand? I do have two questions. First question on hand is the name Syrkatrii. Where did that come from?
I'll try and keep this short. So I mentioned before that I was in a band, and this was back in 2010. I went by a different name as a guitar player at the time, and I was also dabbling in electronic music, and I wanted the guitar persona to be separate from the electronic music persona. So I created an entirely new name for that, and the project eventually made its way to Syrkatrii. And when I thought of the name, I wanted it spelled a certain way, so I Googled several different spellings of the word Syrkatrii, and this one popped up, and it was not taken. So that's how I got my name.
Okay. I got you. I mean, it's a unique name, I'll give you that. Like, apparently, if you say the word Syrkatrii, I'm pretty sure nobody would actually picture how it's spelled on your side, for the most part. They would think it would be spelled like a certain way on hand, here and there. Still waiting to hear and see if there are any questions on hand here, for the most part. But, I guess my next question is, you had a team on hand, for the most part, and I was going to ask, what is the origins behind that, for the most part? What was the origins behind the whole, your team that you have?
Okay, so, you're talking of Team Hyplexia. That
Yes.
It started with 3 members, myself, Poke, and one other person, and, we've been friends for, 2-3 years, and, at the time, he had this idea of starting this team, and it started with a Discord, and then next thing you know, it just kind of propelled into a podcast, and eventually we started adding more members. We get more viewers, what this did was this actually created a community hub for everyone's individual communities to come together and meet each other for the first time. So it wasn't just like, one person's community or here, one person's community, or it's not like we all shared a community.
Mm-hmm.
It was that we all had our own individual communities that we brought.
I see.
So it was a really great thing. But yeah, Team Hyplexia was a great thing.
Okay, I got you here, because it just made me think back to because there was a team on hand that was very similar that me and a few others worked together to make. It was called Fusion Souls, where basically it was not a stream team, it was a community team, where basically we took our communities together and tried to basically work together, create like this big community on hand here and there. So that's what it made me think of here and there. I'm trying to see. I don't see any questions on hand at this moment. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I have any questions for you right now at this moment. So, but I will say this.
Fine.
But I will say on hand for the most part, that will be episode 58 of Shoot the Breeze.